Welcome back to the AI Executive Morning Buzz. So good to be back. I'm Albert, joined by Jason and Nick. I'm so excited. Today, we're focusing on practical AI implementation. You've all been asking for it. We've been talking about headliners, which we'll have a couple today, but practical use cases, real examples that you've been asking for. And this is going to be industry agnostic across all industries for your listeners out there. No matter what industry you're in, we're going to hit it today. We're going to explore industry specific use cases. This is what people have been asking for and how we can deliver measure value, common implementation strategies and challenges. And then Nick and Jason will be walking through the solutions that we've been offering many startups through enterprise. So excited to get into that and jump right in. You probably saw it. I'm going to start with this. Jason, I'm going to come to you. I know we were chatting about it last night and behind the scenes. We saw it on X, we saw it on social media platforms. Give us the big headliner because I think that's going to allow us to get into some of these use cases as well. But over to you, sir.
Yeah. So the CEO of Shopify sent out an internal memo saying that we are an AI first company, that we have to make changes of how we're going to operate in order to keep up with the pace of innovation and the pace of their customers. And there was a lot of employees that maybe leaked it out to the media and leaked it out. And I love that the CEO came out on X and said, I know that this may be floating around, but I wanted it to come from me to show you exactly what I'm thinking about for AI for
So good.
Shopify. And he came out with 6 key points that are critical to the way that their company must think about AI going forward. And the way that he labeled it was reflective AI, where that is what you go to first. It's your first result. Like when we started with Google, you would go to Google to get results. Now he wants you to go to AI to get results. So I think there's a lot of great things there. I'd love to get Nick's opinion from a CEO of how this would play and what you think the value is.
Correct. So reflexive AI, almost as if it's a natural reflex, as if you touch fire, right? Or fire meets your finger, your first reflex is to pull your hand away. So he wants this to become a natural reflex, and I think that that's brilliant to characterize it that way. I famously say that AI was my first hire when I first started the company in 2023, and the reason we've been able to reach this pace and this volume of business and size is because AI is being used at every turn and corner by every employee, and it's always been a requirement of the job that you come to the organization interested in learning how to use AI in that reflexive manner. It isn't necessary that you come pre-built with the ability to do that initially, but I think what we're going to talk about later is sort of those organizational struggles and organizational challenges with employees who perhaps have put a prompt in and just didn't get something back that they thought they were going to get back, and they lost hope too quickly. I think there needs to be this persistence and endurance in continuing to work with AI for it to output in whatever your optimal performance is. So, as a CEO, I think it's important to set the tone at the top, and I think there are little quotes inside of his or snippets of his message that really stood out to me. Jason, what stood out to you?
So I think what the news jumped on top of was don't ask for more headcount unless you can prove that
Sure.
AI.
Yeah.
But I think what I liked the most was this will be a part of your annual assessment and your peer review of how often and
Yeah.
what tools you're using, because it's critical from the book Measure What Matters. If you're not measuring what is critical for your business to be successful, no one's going to care about it. But he has put it out there as his third bullet saying, we are going to measure this. This is part of your annual assessment. This is part of your peer review, which I think is a great way to really enable people to start doing that. But there's a lot there. We can talk more about, anytime you want to get a new a GSD product, you must use AI as a prototype. We're not going to do PowerPoints. We're not going to do that. You're using AI to start building out your prototypes.
So this is
Reminds me of
interesting.
the 7-page narrative from AWS. That was
Mm,
a standard. If and now I wonder, all these 7-page narratives are being written by AI at AWS. But if you ever had a new idea you thought was brilliant and is going to be a game changer for AWS or even at Amazon as a part of Amazon's culture, you are required to fully research and write a what do they call it? A PR. I forgot the name of it. Anyway, it's a 7-page document. It's written kind of like a press release, and it has all of the data necessary to support your idea. So this reminds me of that kind of move, a cultural shift. I think my question is how is the organization from a measurement standpoint going to attribute the use of AI to a bright new idea, to collaborative work? How do you tie the output back to asking the question, was AI used in the development of this?
that's interesting. You know what I love about this? It reminds me of the podcast episode we had with Paul Carney, and we were chatting about this quite a bit actually, especially around talent development, talent acquisition. And I love there's a lot of quotes, there's a lot of bangers in there. But the one thing that I really liked was how I don't know if aggressive is the right word, but bullish the CEO is about AI being used in everything, and then pausing headcount because we need to ask more questions. But it's funny because I actually think that's going to make there be more attraction power and buzz to a lot of talented people to want to come on over. So they're going to have a little bit of a bottleneck. It's, hey, slow down the head count, but they're going to have people waiting in line because of his bullish approach here, that AI and everything. And I think people are looking for that. I think there's an attraction power when it comes to acquiring the best talent. I mean, I think what company was it that I just saw last night that they're actually paying employees those that have used AI within their organization or have helped them build it, and say, hey, we'll keep paying you. Don't go anywhere else. You don't even have to do anything anymore for right now until we tap on your shoulder. Just don't go anywhere else. We'll keep paying you.
So
It's
you're
so
sitting on top of the Huli roof from Silicon Valley.
That's right. Exactly.
Huli roof.
That's so good. Well, anything else here, gents, before we move on? This was a big one.
So
This
one
is
of the things that really was impressive is, they were saying they're getting 20 to 40% growth of their customers. So you've got to be 20 to 40% better every year. And the only way to do that is with AI.
These are two thinly veiled threats I'm going to call out. Number one, you have to be running in order to stand still. Okay, that's number one. He akins it to a part of the story from Alice in Wonderland, something about a Red Queen race. I don't recall that part of the scene, but the idea behind it is that in order to even stand still, you have to be running. And number two, he says that in that 20 at the end of that 20 to 40% quote, he said that you must be growing at least that much to, here's the key word, requalify. Meaning you cannot just you it's not enough that you won the interview, right?
mm,
It means that you have to continue to requalify every year.
be
Going back
relevant.
to the inclusion of this in the performance reviews, right? I think that there's going to be a much larger emphasis on what it means to requalify, almost as if you're having to re-interview and be selected once again to continue to do the job that you're in. It's no longer satisfactory that you did it at the interview.
So, question on that before we move on to implementation, because a lot of people are wondering just use cases, real examples on implementation challenges and solutions. So, when I hear that, Nick, I love it, right? There's a lot of A types out there like, yeah, let's keep running, let's keep innovating, stay. I remember a mentor once telling me, hey, in the professional world, in the corporate arena, you have to stay relevant, find ways to stay relevant, right? But there comes a lot of pressure, a lot of that can be very taxing mentally, physically. How do we protect our employees, our team members, our workforce from not burning out at this rate of speed?
Part of that is another point that he made was you've got to always be continuously training and continuously develop yourself and your skills. And then when you're continuously evolving, then change is not as hard to adopt. But if you're just stagnant in your career or in your job, and it's, and then change comes, and change has been coming every day now, especially in the phase of AI, you've got to be able to be resilient to that. And you've got to be able to be prepared and carve out that time and spend that time to upskill yourself so you're prepared for the next change that comes.
Yeah. Yeah, we keep hearing it, upskilling, right? We had a recent podcast with Jason Wells, and we had Stefan Bermer. I mean, everyone's speaking the same language. Those that are actually doing something like White Glove, right? Like us, we're actually building, we're doing it, we're implementing, we're integrating, we're using our AI AMF framework, and we're all saying the same things: is the humans, right? It's so weird to say, but the humans need to upskill. You need to lean in, right? Or else, like the CEO is saying, well, why not? We can use agents to replace some of these tasks. We can use
And
AI.
he called out that I am giving you the best tools available. It's not like you're
Yeah,
getting,
great.
GPT 3.5 and we're waiting for all of the steps to be able to get 4.0 so that you now can be knowledge up to June of 2023. Like, he's giving them Cursor, he's giving them Copilot, he's giving them the most available tools that have the most skills, so that, he's giving his employees everything that they need to be successful. Now it's on
He's
them to be
he's
successful.
saying, I'm literally upgrading your engine. You've been driving on this old, like Chevy,
Yeah,
4.0
yeah.
block.
Now you got an electric Tesla
Now
engine.
you
Yeah, yeah.
gotta you got individual motors for every wheel. Okay, I expect you to go faster. I spent money on this. I'm enabling you.
I'm
We're doing
investing in it.
training. We're doing workshops. They even have a tool called Proxy, which is, I believe it's homegrown. It's the gateway, and Proxy, like another, it's synonymous to gateway, to all of the models, the
Yeah.
best and brightest, the latest and greatest. And then when we get into implementation, I'll talk to you a little bit more about what I gleaned from the comments on that X post, on what actually Proxy does.
Well,
But
let's pivot. Let's pivot to
yeah,
that, because there's a lot of leaders right now watching and have been watching, and we're getting a lot of questions around, okay, implementation, and that goes for those that are just starting up right from scratch. They don't necessarily have a robust tech stack, so they're asking, hey, what? How do we minimize this? What should we use? How do we implement? Then you have the more mature, which they have, let's call it 500 to 3,000 plus 100,000 team members, right? And they're like, well, there's the human side of this. How do we implement? We know we're going to deal with challenges. White Glove, help us. So, Nick, why don't we start there? What are some of the implementation challenges that you're seeing, that is influencing others to reach out to us, right? We see it all the time, but I know people want to hear directly from you and Jason on what are the challenges that we're seeing that are very common, and then how are we finding solutions for it, and even recommending solutions. We can do it today.
I'd say the top three, just to start, right? It's organizational change management. Number one, it's it's getting the humans to accept this new reality,
Mhm.
and we have a tendency to be in denial of things simply because we have selective hearing and selective memory, right? Like we ignore things we don't that don't align with our internal core values or beliefs or ideologies. So number one is organizational change management. Number two is data readiness. Okay. Meaning, like, what's the condition of your data? Where does your data live? Where does it exist? If it's from an app, coming from an application, where does it go? Does it go to a central, like, data lake, or something to that effect? Are you unifying your data inside of a data lake? How is AI going to be able to grab a hold of this data? And is that data in the optimal, its most optimal condition to be fed into to AI? And number three, definitely very important. All three of these are equally important, is security. Okay, and going back to the comments on proxy, there's actually a filtering mechanism in Shopify's proxy, where it actually looks for that sensitive data. They get to use the biggest and brightest public models, but it doesn't mean those public models are getting any of Shopify's sensitive data.
Right. And I want to switch gears to Jace on the technical side, right? Existing tech stacks, and to Nick's point on the data security, or just data in general, right? I mean, there's a lot of organizations we help out where we're just like, man, we got some cleanup to do, right? And I think a lot of people can relate with that. Just
Yeah.
years and years of legacy tech stack, and just we've done it always this way, and the data is not the cleanest. Thoughts on that, on those challenges
Yeah,
of
yeah. I like to call those scenarios data swamps, not data lakes. And there's a lot of that. And as you continue to pivot, as you add more things and more data, it's hard to manage that. And you've got to be able to have that in a good condition with good metadata in order for the AI to be successful as you're starting to
right,
train that and building out your smaller language models that are dedicated to your company specific. So that's really probably the number one reason why most AI initiatives fail. I think Gartner's recent report said 82% of enterprise AI initiatives have failed, and it's because of data cleanliness and how well that's done. It's also, there's a lot of tech debt that companies continue to endure. I mean, even as a small company, we have some tech debt that we need to go and always maintain. And it's not as much fun, it's not as sexy to clean up tech debt as it is to work on the new initiative and the new shiny tool, or, oh, look at this capability that came out. But those are two things that are critical to an AI adoption,
that's good.
is reducing as much tech debt as possible and making sure that your data is clean.
That's good. And Nick, your first point, and I think people can relate with that one too, right? It's the existing tech stack, right? Existing data. But what you were saying, the first one that you said, and people need to hear this because there's a lot that we deal with that don't, for some reason, still, even when we're talking about change management, don't think about the human side of it, right? The human implementation challenges. What are some of the things that you and we've seen as we go in and lift up the hood to many of our clients that we've spent time with and those that we're working on now? What are some of the challenges you see, and what are some of the solutions you'd recommend on the human implementation side when it comes to this digital transformation?
It's a natural fear. Fear is number one.
Mm,
Fear is that sort of that initial strike at adoption. Fear will be is the number one thing that keeps people from adopting. Okay, and how fear grows is number one, that they're given access to this technology, perhaps in their personal life or in their professional life, where leaders, like Shopify CEO says that, hey, you need to start using it. So once they start using it and they don't see the results that they were hoping for, or, or they don't fully comprehend or understand exactly how to integrate this into the work that they do, they're immediately struck with fear. Uh, and that fear also comes from perhaps loneliness, or a lack of support in the organization to help quell that fear, right? Through, let's say, supportive Slack channels where people can come and engage and ask questions, right? Having a collaborative workspace to work through challenges on how to best fit this into my workflow. I have a unique workflow, I follow a unique process, and it just does not compute for me. You're telling me to use this thing, but it doesn't compute for me exactly where, why, or how I'm supposed to do it. And how is this going to benefit me or the company at the end of the day? So it starts with communication, and all of these underpin fear. Communications number one, how it's being communicated. Is it being forced upon the workforce, right? Is it being forced upon use cases where perhaps it's not as a dominant of a helper as in other use cases, right? Being very mindful and thoughtful where it's being applied. Number two, having supportive groups in some sort of a collaborative workspace where people can come. It could be even as simple as like office hours, where it's office hours like 30 minutes, or an hour that happens at the end of the day every day. You collect your frustrations with AI and you bring it there. And you could even view it as kind of like a genius bar, right? Have it if you have like a physical facility, have your genius bar, like have AI trainers staff there where people can come. We have to blend the old with the new, right? And then number three, uh, being 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 so bold of saying that it's going to go into your performance reviews, but not giving the right support infrastructure
Right.
for that adoption and learning. I think that those are all things that go against adoption.
But that can also be very bloated, and especially in bureaucratic organizations, building out that training program. They'll spend 4 months building out a training program, and it's completely irrelevant by time it's rolled out. So it also has to have some ability to be nimble and
Yeah.
do things quickly and fail fast. I know in software development, we spoke a lot during the transition to DevOps is you want to fail faster. Business needs to fail faster. Learn from your mistakes and then build upon it. So being able to allow your employees to be able to innovate, try. If it doesn't work, it's not a big deal because they wasted, minutes, not days or weeks or months on problems. So you've got to be able to enable your organization to fail fast and learn fast.
Not everybody works at that pace, Jason.
They're going to have to if they want to
No,
continue to keep their
no.
market share.
So this is interesting, Nick, and you both bring up good points, right? And I think this is where people are stuck. It's the classic: do we do it and build it in house, and can we operate at this speed, or do we need to raise our hand and ask for help, right? And not to plug it in, right? We don't use this show to pitch, but if you need help, white gloves here, right? So it's like, can we build it and can we do it? Which most can't. They think they can, which is why you're hearing about the 80+% failure rate. Well, yeah, this is not your MO. This is not your strength unless you go hire a CAIO. Even then, right, you have some cultural issues back to the change management human side of it, your culture, and the technical side, right, on the tech side. So what are your because this is good,
I,
right?
I, I want to hear, because Jason has strong opinions on this because
Yeah,
that's what he did at his last
yeah.
job. So I want to hear, Jason, like, what are, like, you actually did these things.
Yep.
What did you learn, and how does the enable service that you built for our fractional chief AI officer service program solve for these?
Yeah, so I built out a training program and I built out a very agile training program. In the beginning, the first 6 months of it, we probably changed the program every week based on feedback. So we had our core principles and priorities, but we would change the delivery based on what's working, what's resonating with people, what's not. And so you had to continue to evolve on what people are grasping and what they're not. Because as many training programs start, they go in with an assumption. Sometimes those assumptions are correct, sometimes they're not. So you've got to be able to not have the ego cloud your judgment on how you want to deliver that training. After that, then it's what's resonating with people. And you need to realize that, certain divisions, the marketing division, they may be very good on new technology and adoption, where maybe the sales are very set in their ways and they've got their workflow and they don't want to disrupt their workflow. So they're not ready to adopt AI. So you've got to figure out how to deliver that for people that are on the leading edge and on the trailing edge. And having different delivery methods for that is critical. And that's the way that you're going to be successful in rolling out an AI adoption plan. You've got to be able to tailor it to those users, because there's nothing worse than sitting through a 2-hour training session of someone going high level and just tapping a little bit in each
Mhm.
department and not providing you use cases.
It's got to be
People get a
interactive.
lot of value when you talk, all right, you're a sales professional. Here are 5 tangible things you can do today. You're in marketing, you're in CFO. Here's 5 things that you can do as soon as we're done with this training. People get energized out of that, and that's what drives the adoption.
And make them do it. Like, it has to be interactive. They're not watching
Exactly.
slides.
Yeah, it's not watching slides or some guy standing up and just talking. You've got to be able to make it interactive and having them use it at that time.
Back to
So
you,
good.
Albert.
No, it's good. I was just, you guys got me thinking now, and I was actually going through the AIMF. Jeez, I can't talk this morning. AIAMF framework. We actually included a link there in the comments. And Jason, as you're walking through that, I'm seeing every step of the way, and I know you're a creator and contributor to that. And I was even going through the peer reviews too, and some comments, and it's just spot on, right? I think people are just missing that framework. They're not raising their hand for help. They're not thinking about these implementation challenges and because there's a lot of no. I mean, we started this off by saying a CEO says you gotta run to stand still, and so people are like, oh shoot, I'm off to the races. I'm like, wait, you're missing that, right? That's a good headliner quote. It takes it's like what we say, right? It takes a lot to start running. You gotta crawl, walk first, and that's what we're looking to help for. We'll get the actual framework piece there in the comments after the show because I really think people need to still think about the steps in which they need to take to do it. I was at a just to switch gears here. I know we're running out of time here, but I was at a recent. I was grabbing a beverage. I'm at a hotel, and I'm still getting a lot of chatter around where do I go invest. So it's interesting. It's kind of switching gears away from implementation to hey, I got capital. My organization has capital, and we want to know where our dollar is going to turn some good profit, some good return. Where do we go? And Nick, you mentioned something the other day that I think caught some attention, right? You see some headliners, but it's kind of died down a little bit. It was the infrastructure play, but I don't know if that's the right answer. I don't know if that's the only answer. I'm curious what you both think around for those that want to invest dollars, knowing AI is here, it's to stay, and it's getting better and faster, right? It's changing the world. How can I still get in?
I don't know if those 4 hours in the stock market really made people feel comfortable that they want to start spending money yet.
I know
I
everything's
think we need to
paused
get a little
now.
bit more
I woke up
sustainment on
this
that.
I woke up this morning. I'm like, Tara's pause. I'm like, I can't keep up, man. I don't know what's going on. Like
Uh,
it's just too
it,
much.
it's the art of the deal.
I don't get this one.
I think that I would say invest in yourself. We don't provide investment decisions on this show, but I would say invest in yourself. I think there are a lot of great tools out there that you can start learning on. In the next few months, Jason and I and the team are going to be putting together the White Glove AI Academy. We'll be releasing trainings on there. But there are so many free trainings available out there right now from the big providers, especially Google, AWS, Microsoft. This stuff is free, folks. It just takes time, right? I don't understand what is keeping people from learning outside of just their time and their commitment, right? If they commit themselves to this, there's no other barrier. Back in the day, people couldn't get a college education because they just didn't have the money or the collateral to borrow to go to college. Now the education's free. The tools that you need to use are mere two Starbucks orders a month, right? I mean, there's no excuses. At this point, all I can say is you're standing in your own way.
Yeah, good call out and good challenge. That's what we do on the show. We keep it real, we keep it raw. Let's take away the hype, and we're gonna give it to you all straight. That's so good, and that's for us too, right? It's keep leaning in, staying curious, staying innovative. Like we have to, as the CEO said from Shopify, right? You got to stay relevant. You got to stay relevant.
So my
All
favorite on the comments from that
What'd you see?
tweet, Gronk, please write this in my own language for company X, Y, and Z. And there was a ton of those comments. So you could already see people
Yeah, the
seeing
Flexport
value of it and like,
CEO.
all right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take
Yeah,
this and run with it within my organization.
launching pad. I love it. What's good? It's good to challenge the status quo. It's good to shock the system a little bit. Real quick, we got a minute. Can you gents? You guys had a great day yesterday. Super busy, man. White Glove is on fire. I sent you all chat. We're everywhere. We truly are. I'm hearing about it everywhere, both in person and here virtually. What do we have coming up, Nick? You said it something that resonated with me. Invest in yourself. We have the pitch your business, right?
Yeah, on the
Opportunity.
15th.
Yeah, on the 15th. I don't know if we've selected anyone quite yet.
Not
I know
yet.
we have some good contenders. So if you're investing in yourself and you want to pitch your business and do it live and use AI, we'll show you how. Uh, Jump on, right? Reach out to us. What else is coming out? We got some big events. We're sponsoring events. We're White Gloves powering events. What's going on?
Tag ITM at the end of the month.
Can't wait.
The Texas Association for government IT managers. Obviously, as everybody knows, like we do a lot of work with municipalities, local school districts. So that's a really big one for us.
Love that. I'll keep the social one. We'll be at the Dallas meetup, and thanks for Carson out there for allowing us to join up. We have some familiar faces, some that have been on the show, the podcast, some that will be already recorded and scheduled. So we're excited to be there May 1st at the Dallas meetup. If you want to hang out with us and chat AI or chat business, let us know. We'll be there. All right, gents. Well, I know there's even more. I ran out of time. That's my fault. Heard the alarm there. So, everyone, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I can't believe we have to wait till next Tuesday, but we do have a podcast coming out. I believe it's episode Sam back behind the scenes. She can check me. It's episode 8 now. I mean, we're up to 20 something, and those will be delivered every week. But we had a great conversation with Steve Ehrer from Signals AI. That was awesome. So for all you sales and marketing folks out there, it's definitely one you're going to want to listen to or watch on YouTube or listen on Spotify. As we always say, stay curious, stay innovative. Nick, you said it. We're challenging you all. There's no excuses anymore.
No
Jump
excuses.
in. No excuses. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much.